Okay. So very, very, very well played game by our team. Obviously, we were a very disciplined team. 37 yards in penalties, rushed for over 300 yards, and very minimal with turnovers. Took care of the football. We averaged, almost 8 yards a snap rushing the football. Obviously, Chuba was fantastic. Quarterback handled himself well. Defense had a stretch there where I think 5-6 series in a row we held them to turnovers, fumbles, interceptions, or punts. I'm not sure what it was. So guys really played well. We were able to get some big plays again, which gives us a chance when we get big plays. Couldn't be any more proud of our special teams plans, our schemes, and the way we executed it. We took number one out of the game. Special teams wise is a big accomplishment for us. And defensively, we did a pretty good job with him also. He's been a game breaker for a number of years for them. So we knew going in we needed to really kick and cover well and punt and cover well. And I thought those guys were fantastic. So it was a good win for our team. Guys competed, found a way to get it done in the end.
Mike, missing not just Tylen, but Wilson and Sterling, whoever else didn't play. How pleased are you to be able to play this well, missing so many guys, some late in the week?
Very much so. I actually apologize to the defensive staff, and I got a little too excited the last 2 minutes there, but I really wanted this game for the players, going through what they went through in the middle of the week. We talked a lot about our culture and staying the course, and then our coaching staff not change the plays, run what we run. Other guys can make plays. A lot easier said than done. They did. They practiced. Well, we only really had a half practice, and it was just kind of a weird deal to lose those three guys basically in one day. So I was really proud of our coaches and schemes and staying with it, and then the players recovering from it, because it's a shock to them. It's their buddy, and when that happens, it's unfortunate. So, but it's a tough game, and sometimes that happens. And I was really proud of them, as much for this game as any in a long, long time. Just learning to stay the course and deal with some adversity.
Can you give us a little more on exactly what happened with Wilson and Sterling?
Half-speed drills. I mean, it's one of the most unusual days that I've had as a coach.
And all three were Wednesday? Highland was Wednesday, it sounds
yes.
like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what?
And it's just, there's just weird deal. I mean, it wasn't, we don't practice full speed much this time of year. So just half to three-quarter speed drills, I don't have an explanation for it. And it's just an unusual situation. One and then the other one, and then the other one probably less than 3 minutes on the other side of the field. So I was up in the tower watching practice, and so I got down real quick and held on to the rails coming down because I didn't know what was next. Stayed on the ground the rest of practice. So the guys rallied and did a good job, though. Coaches also.
Is Wilson and Sterling as serious as Tylen?
No. Tylen's out for the year. Those two guys we could possibly get back.
Can you talk about Tylen and just what that loss means to you guys?
I knew somebody was going to ask that. You look at it. I don't really have to explain Tylen, but what's difficult, and I told the team this on Thursday night when I meet with them, just them and me. I don't know if that's correct English, but that the most difficult thing for a coach is when a player gets hurt, especially guys that give everything they have to the organization. Now, Tylen's a special talent. We all know this. But he's very humble, he's very unselfish, and he's a tremendous player, and he's a very, very hard worker. So when you lose guys like that for a while, because he'll rally back, it's difficult. It's just hard for a coach to swallow. It just almost ruined my week when I left the office, when I went home. I just now when I'm here, I don't flinch. I stay the course. But when I go home, it just makes me sick to where I can't hardly function at all. So it's it's hard to lose a guy like that, not only as a player but as a person, what he brings to the table. And the same thing with Johnny. I mean, Johnny's a vet. He's a really good college offensive lineman. He's a warrior. He likes heavy metal. It's hard to lose a guy like that. And then number 3's been playing great all year. Number 3's been Trey's been our defensive player of the week, I don't know how many times. So, I've done this a long time, but it was even a challenge for me to keep my head up and say it's going to be okay. But, the credit goes to the team. They understand. And then the coaches, the assistants did a good job by staying the course and instilling in the players somebody else has to make plays.
Have you ever had a day like that in practice before? I can't imagine.
I tried to keep it a secret as much as I could just from my family, just so it wouldn't ruin their week. And it gets out about 2 days later. I start getting text messages in the morning when my kids are supposed to be in class. Tylen out, stray out. So I have to tell them the truth. I said, yes. Well, how does that happen? I don't know. So I have not, in however many years I've been coaching, I don't know, 29, 30, something like that, have seen a day like that. Very rare.
You guys went through a pretty rough stretch there a couple weeks ago, and you guys became bowl eligible tonight. How big is it for you to keep that streak alive?
For them to win, the bowl eligible special for the university. It's for our organization and the players and all the families and everybody that get that. But and that is a big deal, okay? But more importantly, as I said, that's the first time I've lost my composure in a long time as a head coach. And I told everybody I apologized to them, but I wanted it so bad because I wanted them to learn that life lesson, that it's okay when you get adversity to find a way to be successful. In the bowl, this makes it that much better. I didn't even remember that till somebody told me afterwards. I should have, but that's just not where my mind was at that time. But, the game, we didn't give up big plays for touchdowns. We did give up a big quarterback scramble. That quarterback is a good player. He's going to be a good player in this league. This league's going to be tired of him over the next 2 or 3 years. And we were plus, 2 or 3 in the turnovers. 3. So we're plus 3 in the turnovers, and we didn't get penalized. So we were a disciplined team. We were plus 3 in the turnovers, and we didn't give up big plays for touchdowns. And that's really been the key for most teams in this league this year, and particularly us.
Mike, I'm a little bit in the dark. How did you lose your composure 2 minutes left?
Well, on the sideline, I started calling defenses. And I haven't ever called defenses in my career in the last 2 minutes. And it was stuff that we didn't have.
Did they?
I was reflecting back to.
What you called?
Do you remember when Lou Holtz called offense and defense both in 1976 in the Orange Bowl?
Yeah.
And that's first I started thinking about that, and I don't know why. I don't even know why I know that. But I started trying to call defenses, and one, I don't call defenses, and 2, we didn't have them. So I apologize.
What you called?
Well, they tried to, but we didn't have it. So I apologize to Joe, Bob, and Duffy, and Jim never listens to me. He just keeps going, which is pretty smart. So, but I got out of control because I wanted them to win so bad for all the reasons that we talked about over the last 5 minutes.
Mike,
Colby Harbell-Peels had 2.
Go ahead, Jenny.
No, Mike, as good as Gary is with defense and them knowing obviously that Tylen wasn't part of your offense and just the chaos that might create for Chuba to do what he did, your offensive line to give him the opportunity to do what he did. How do you sort of wrap your head around just that?
He's really good. He always has been, and he's particularly good against the rush. I just looked at he had 223, and I have a lot of respect for him. He and I are good buddies. Before the game, we almost think about siding up with each other every time because we enjoy each other's company so much. I don't know if anybody's ever rushed for 200 yards on him. Be interesting to look it up.
Cypher researched it and said no.
Yeah, I was just going to say, in his career, I doubt anybody's ever rushed for 200 yards on him.
You're talking about Gary.
Mm-hmm. He's been pretty good against the run for 20 years, or not however many years he's been the head, probably as a coordinator. And I just looked at it and walking down the hall, and I thought, I don't know if anybody's ever rushed for 200 yards on him. But he ran his plays. he did the same thing he's always done for the most part. That's what he believes in. That's what he does. You know, the difference being when Chuba gets through there, nobody can catch him. That makes him different than other players.
As good as, I mean, obviously the cross-country runs will be the highlights, but his ability to turn a negative play into 5 yards, I mean, I'm sure you can coach that, but how does he do that?
Not really. There's not. I'm sure Waz would like to take credit for it, but the drive that you're talking about before the end of the field goal is when there's probably 3 runs that we shouldn't have had any yards, and he got 4 one time, 6 another. That's a big deal. Big difference in your play calling for your coordinator. Somebody had a question. I cut him off for Jenny.
You're fine. No, I was just gonna say Colby Harvell-Peel has had 2 big games in a row. What do you think has been working so well for him lately?
You know, he buys in. He's been in the program now 2 years. He's a good example. A guy, you know, he works hard. He's quiet. He's humble. He likes to make plays. Did he have both interceptions?
He had 2.
Yeah, and the one down here on this end was a great catch now, because I thought he threw it so far that I thought, well, he's never going to get to that, and he kind of Willie Mays it a little bit, went over the shoulder with it, and is a really good catch. So he's been a good player for us. He's been a good leader. He got hurt at Iowa State. He didn't practice this week, but very, very little.
Mike, you have guys like Malcolm and Israel that showed a little more emotion today. When the defense starts playing with that swagger, what do you think?
I'm fired up. And, you know, this is a difficult league to play defense in. But I have said the same thing to them. You guys have to generate some energy amongst yourself. You know, coaches can try to do it, but we can't do it. We don't play in the games. And what you're talking about are things that we're telling them. Somebody's got to generate some energy and some power and some momentum, and they're doing better. Obviously, the way they finished at Iowa State made them feel better about themselves. And then as we went into halftime, I think they had got us 3 drives in a row, or maybe 4. I'm not sure. 3. And so when we came out, we made 2 small adjustments. I don't know what they are. As I said, I don't coach defense. I just know that the things that I mentioned to them, they said, okay, we'll fix it. And it worked good because we gave up just 1 touchdown and a field goal at the end. So they made good adjustments because those 3 drives prior to the half, they were rolling on us pretty good.
Mike, in this day and age in the Big 12, imagine that you could win a game completing 9 passes the way that you did?
Is that all we completed? No, I did. I wouldn't have. You should have asked me that before you gave me the answer. I would not have thought that. Here's the other one. Last week we had 54 plays. This week we had 56. We normally have 100 plays a game over the last, 6-8 years? Very seldom, 90 plays or more a game. So that part, that aspect, that the adjustment we made there has been good. So.
On the heels of that, talk about how Spencer managed this game.
He did very well.
He had Tylen out and not available.
You know, the interesting thing about Spencer, and I've told you guys this, you know, the only issues that he's had this year is he's so ultra competitive that his emotions get involved. And I kind of watched him a little bit Wednesday in the last 40 minutes of practice after half the team got injured. And then I watched him on Thursday, never fazed him. I kind of expected him to come to me or Sean and say, hey, you know, what do you guys want to do? And he's interesting. He's an interesting young man in the standpoint that it never fazed him. It would have fazed me. If I was playing quarterback, you know, if Hartley Dykes would have went out on Wednesday, it would have fazed me. It didn't faze him at all. So that was a plus. And he was really good today emotionally. He got upset when he saw the replay of the interception because he knew he held the ball too long, didn't get rid of it early enough. And when he looked at the board, he got frustrated at himself for that. Then he calmed down about 30 seconds later, and he was fine. And he ran really well today. He had some really good medium-size, 4, 6, 8, 10-yard runs, which he can do.
Did you guys run him more by design, thinking you'd need to
Well,
run
Gary's
more without Tylen?
Gary's so good at gap control, and he always has a half guy or one extra guy in the box because he's one of the few guys that's still playing a lot of man. They're playing some quarters and and man, and essentially their quarters basically is man. And you don't see a lot of that in this league now, and he's still doing it. When you do that, that gives you an extra guy in the box. So for us, Spencer has to be the extra guy to handle that guy that's in the box. In most cases, when you're just into a basic run, he's got an extra guy that fits in there pretty fast.
What do you think of Dylan Stoner's afternoon? Big afternoon. What do you think of Dylan Stoner's big afternoon?
So Stoner has 93 yards, and he's the guy that kind of rolled over into that spot because he's a veteran guy. So that the Z responsibility got thrown on him at Wednesday or Thursday, basically. And, you know, Stoner is what he is. When we were practicing Thursday out here, which is basically kind of a shorts practice, we throw a ball. Well, the ball he caught for the touchdown, we threw it in practice. And he ran in the end zone, and he laid out and caught the ball with one hand on a Thursday practice. And I was sitting up there watching him, and I thought, you know, that's why that kid's special. Nobody lays out on Thursdays. He does. He doesn't care. That's the kind of young man you have, and that's why he plays the way he plays.
Last couple of questions for some young players coming in the back.
Mike, what about your defensive line, your defensive front? You got good pressure on quarterback, and even if you weren't sacking him, it seemed like you were causing problems there.
It's 2 weeks now that they've been better. And what you're saying is correct. Even though you don't sack him, we want to sack him, but just a matter of, you know, taking his eyes off downfield, pushing him around a little bit. Those young guys are getting better. We're doing a few things differently as we evolve defensively to where we think we need to go. We're not there, but we're changing a few things up, and they're getting a little more push. So they have played better.
Anybody else?
Yeah, with Tylen and Johnny and Trey, were they around today? Did you have them in the locker room, or?
I saw Tylen. I don't think I saw Johnny, and I saw Trey. Trey was on the sidelines. I don't know where Johnny was, but Johnny's got a lower injury, and when you have those, they usually won't put him on the sideline because there's nowhere to run and hide when the play starts coming off. So we usually don't put him down there. I don't know where he was. He was probably up there at the concession stand, would be my guess. So, thanks, guys.